Greetings, Chummer, and welcome back to another RIT90s recap for Season 2, Episode 18, Installing Malware. Hearing Lance's cry of shock, Arthur runs ahead into the back room, only to be greeted by an array of robotic arms that try and extract the clothing off of his back. Also surprised by the sudden onslaught, Arthur cries out for help. Hearing this, Merlin cautiously follows behind. However, she is less surprised at the display before her, recognizing this system as a standard operating procedure for most tailors in the Star District. Merlin confidently struts down the conveyor belt and allows the machine to cut away the sweatshirt she borrowed from Egg's lab into ribbons of fabric. From behind a glass window, Percy sits beside Hook and I as they critique the team's attire, take measurements, and pull up catalogs of different fabrics in AR. Eventually, the Neon Knights are funneled into separate changing rooms before Hook and I moves to their first project, Arthur. In the brief moments before they arrive in the observation suite, Arthur extends his senses across the room to mark Hook and I's matrix server, hoping to erase any evidence of their visit from the store's footage. Hook and I begins to banter back and forth with Percy as they work with Arthur to composite a new runner look. The exchange is uncomfortable, but they eventually manage to put together something suitable. Hook and I then directs their attention to Merlin, who eagerly collaborates with the tailor. With several more people to attend to, they suggest to Percy that it might be best if she, Merlin, and Arthur go find something else to do to pass the time. Hearing her need for a tattoo parlor, Hook and I gives Percy the directions to the stabbing feeling on the opposite side of the shopping mall. Arthur, Merlin, and Percy then make their way across the bustling mall complex to find the small storefront that houses the tattoo parlor. Percy steels herself for her social interaction and walks up to the stocky, tattooed human who sits at the reception counter. She inquires about obtaining a new tattoo to use as a key focus, and the man, Jonesy, is momentarily taken aback, noting that this place is a family establishment. She tries to recover, and eventually the group convinces Jonesy to send her to the back to see his brother, Reggie. Before heading to the back, Percy messages Merlin's comlink, instructing her to charm Jonesy, hoping to get some sort of deal. As Merlin flirts with Jonesy out front, Arthur and Percy pass into the back room through a mana barrier to talk to Reggie. Percy tells him about the work that she wants done, and he informs her that the particular skill she wants to channel requires approval from a sensei of the Eastern tradition. He also notes that they need to get cleared by the owner, Pops, before starting the foci tattooing process. While waiting for Pops, back out front, Merlin manages to win Jonesy over and acquire herself a free tattooing session. Reggie returns with Pops in tow, who immediately sizes up Arthur and Percy. Arthur, noticing the man's nautical tattoo, steps in to smooth talk the retired captain, hoping to establish some relational equity. Percy, catching on to Arthur's plan, chimes in with her own experiences, noting that her father has a similar tattoo, that he's an affluent shipwright, and that she could connect the two of them should the group's dealing go well here. Pops is initially intrigued by the proposition, but then recants his interest after hearing that he's dealing with an Omara. Percy pauses as the name Silver-Tongue Omara passes his lips, and the tone of the conversation becomes deadly serious. Pops states that he wants no trouble with Redfin and his gang before Arthur takes control back over the conversation, leaving it on a strained yet amicable note. Reggie ushers Pops out of the room before warily directing Percy and Arthur to the nearest dojo. Merlin joins them as they make a hasty exit out of the mall and down the street. On the way, Percy messages her father about the name Silvertongue, but he deflects, responding with a "you or me, kiddo," as well as a selfie of him at a dive bar with members of the New Seattle New Waste Management Union, including Biff. The group then enters the dojo and are greeted by a young man named Derek, who tells them that in order to talk to the sensei, they have to fight. Percy accepts these terms and gears up for a match against one of the other members. Percy, wielding a wooden shinai, battles against an older man who strikes at her with his practiced naginata. The two exchange blows, the man dealing a swift blow to Percy's head and sending her reeling. But she regroups and dashes towards him, slicing past his guard to deliver an uppercut that sends him toppling. Satisfied with her performance, the sensei leads the party to a separate room to discuss the skill that Percy seeks to learn. Tune in next episode to find out what happens next. And always remember, the birds work for the bourgeoisie.